The Rainbow Friends mod just dropped on Friday Night Funkin', and this mod was actually based off a horror game that originated in Roblox that was created by Fragment Games. Now, the backstory for this one is kind of interesting because it looks like a bunch of kids get on a bus and they're supposed to be going to an amusement park. Now, I understand that some people are adults who play Roblox, but all the avatars look like kids, so I'm just going to call them kids. Now, something kind of funny that happens when they're on their way to this amusement park is that this shadowy figure basically changes the sign and sends them to this weird type of playhouse facility. Now, once the kids arrive there, they basically have to complete these tasks while avoiding these monsters in order to survive the nights. It's like a mix of Five Nights at Freddy's meets Poppy Playtime. And speaking of Poppy's Playtime, we have our first character on the list here, which is Blue, who looks like a friendlier version of Huggy Wuggy. But in actuality, Blue is not friendly at all. He's just as bad as Huggy Wuggy in a way. He's basically chasing these kids down, and I assume that when he catches you, he eats you. And I say this because when I was watching the video, there's literally a sign in one of the rooms that says, "Don't let Blue catch you, he's hungry." And I may be paraphrasing, but I think we get the idea there. Something else that I find very interesting here, in the videos that I watched, a lot of people get out in that first night when it's only Blue. So either like people are really bad at the game or Blue is an absolute savage on that first night by himself. The next character that we'll talk about here is going to be Green. And Green is actually this tall, lanky type of humanoid with googly eyes. And the reason that his eyes are like that is because apparently he is blind. When looking at the game, I thought it was interesting that no matter even if you make sound, he doesn't really respond to it. You have to actually physically touch him for it to be game over for you. So he's actually really easy to avoid, especially compared to Blue. The next character that we see here is going to be Orange, and in the actual game he was interesting because he was basically like this small raptor type creature that would basically set up these orange lines around the map, and if you were on those lines he would basically just come charging through and devour you or rip you apart. He was definitely one of the more interesting characters that I saw in the game, and definitely one of the fastest characters in the game because he was zipping around the map from what I saw. Next up in the Friday Night Funkin' mod, we see a character called Purple. And honestly, I don't think Purple actually popped up in chapter 1 of Rainbow Friends, so I'm assuming that he's in chapter 2. And something interesting about him is that Purple's true appearance isn't actually known to us, and all we really see are their eyes and their hands during gameplay. Now, a creepy fact about Purple is that apparently he roams around in the vents making these noises and sticking his hands out of the vent that he's actually occupying at that time. And I think this is pretty obvious, but if you walk over by him, he'll basically snatch you up. While I think Orange is probably a harder one to avoid, Purple is definitely the creepiest of the ones that I've seen so far. And the last character on the list, which we actually don't get to see in the Friday Night Funkin' mod, but he does pop up in the actual game, is Red. And this guy actually seems like a good guy. He's not actually out to get you from what I noticed. He actually looks like a smaller version of the monsters we've been facing up to this point, but one big difference is that he has on a lab coat. One thing that I did find pretty funny about him though is that since he's so small, it makes his head and his eyes look even larger on his little bitty body. And a fun fact here, he's basically the voice that has been guiding the player through the facility, and when you leave, he's the one that says things are about to get a lot crazier, and obviously that refers to chapter 2. I think chapter 2 might actually be out now. Let me know if that's something that you guys would like to see me play through on the second channel. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this video where I go over the Tom's Basement Show 1.5 mod, or check out this video where I go over the Mistful Crimson Morning mod. Thanks for watching. This is Orseofkorse. Peace.